All right, so in that previous exercise, we had a piecewise function, and you might be going, well, how am I supposed to do a piecewise function in my graphing calculator? And you can. What you do, though, is that you take each one of the pieces in your piecewise function and you multiply it by its condition. So, for example, we had the number 1, and it was equal to, like the graph was equal to 1 everywhere except for x is equal to 2. So I'm going to multiply it in parentheses by its condition. So I type it in just like I would have had it on a piece of paper. So this is x, and then is not equal to is underneath the test menu. So you can see there it's in blue. So I'll hit second and math, and it's right there at the test. You can see equals and not equals, and then less than, greater than, those kind of signs. So number 2, and it was the number 2, close the parentheses, and each time that you add another part, you're going to add it. So plus, and then we wanted 0 for the other part, so 0, and then open the parentheses to multiply it times its condition. This is going to be a riveting video with my calculator bouncing all around and stuff. Okay, so x, and this one was equal to 0. Again, I'm going to get that underneath the test menu. So you go to second math. This time it's number 1, and then is equal to 2, and close those parentheses. Okay, once again, instead of just hitting graph, I'm going to hit zoom, and then I'm going to choose number 4, which is zoom decimal, because whenever I do the trace menu, it goes in increments of decimals. Okay, so you can see that I have graphed something that looks like a horizontal line at y equals 1, and then there's a tiny little gap in there, right, because of the resolution of the screen. I can hit that trace button, and I can move to the right a little bit, get closer to that hole. It's always 1, it's always 1, it's always 1. Bam, look at that, it dips down. So it's hard to see that little dot because of the axis, but you can see that the graphing calculator actually did put a point there because that's where the cursor is, and then directly to the right it's 1 again. If you wanted to see where that point actually was, that an actual dot there, you can turn off your axes, and that is second window, second zoom, format. All right, and then scroll down to the axis and then scroll over until it turns off. And then you can hit graph again and watch a graph, and then you'll see a tiny little speck. Do you see a little speck right there? There you go. Getting a little moire with the screen. Oh, weird. Okay, so let's try something a little stranger. And still, like, with some weird conditions, and we should still be able to graph it as a piecewise function. So I am going to turn my axes back on so it looks normal. Right, sure, I'm going to come over here. I want black axes. Let's go to y equals. Let's clear this out. And let's say that I want to do a parabola joined up with a line, for example. So I'm going to open up my parentheses, and my first piece is going to be something like x squared minus 1, okay? So let's do x squared, arrow out of this thing, minus 1, close the parentheses, and I'm going to multiply it times its condition. And let's say that it is this parabola everywhere less than 1. Okay, so I'm going to put x, go to the test menu, and scroll down to less than, and then put 1, close those parentheses. So on the left side of 1, it should be a parabola, right? And then let's say on the right side of 1, I'm going to hit plus. On the right side of 1, I want it to be a line. And I will do something like, open up parentheses for this whole entire piece, maybe 0.25, so it's going to be a real shallow line, x, and then maybe minus 1. And close the parentheses and multiply it times its condition, and we want it to be greater than or equal to 1. So x, no, I need parentheses. Okay, now x, go back to that test menu there, and we want greater than or equal to, which is number 4, and then put a 1, close the parentheses, zoom, number 4, and you will see that it will graph part of a parabola, and then part of a line, right? A nice, neat little piecewise function, and you can trace it just like you would any other function. You can do all the things that you can do to any other function stuff in the calculate menu for values, zeros, minimums, maximums, intersections, and stuff like that. Hey, what the heck is 6 and 7, I wonder? I wonder if that stuff's calculus. It probably is.